Hello there. Are you here for the Cube personality test? Yes, perfect. This is a great psychological test that a lot of people come in for just to get a little bit of insight into your subconscious and your deeper mind. So I have all of my paperwork printed out, so I will be recording my answers on the paper as you respond. So I will be writing as you speak. Don't worry, I am listening and I'm paying close attention, just doing two things at once. So go ahead and get comfortable. This is a really enjoyable test. It's just kind of like a guided visualization, so it should be pretty relaxing and calming for you. So go ahead and have a seat. Take a nice deep breath in and out. Kind of clear your mind. And if you're ready, then we will go ahead and begin. Okay. Alrighty. So it's important that you tell me what comes to mind initially and give as many details as possible, because everything that you envision means something according to the results. So try not to think about it too much. Just whatever pops into your head first is what I would like you to tell me. You are more than welcome to close your eyes if that would help you visualize the scene better, or you can leave them open. It's whatever you feel most comfortable with. So there are 7 different prompts that I'm going to be guiding you through, and I'm excited to see what your results are. Alrighty. So, number 1, I want you to think of an open field. I want you to think about these details. How big is the field? What is it filled with? And what are the surroundings like? So is it, well, I don't want to guide you too much, just what do you envision? Okay. Great, thank you. Okay, so now you're in that field, and I want you to envision a cube. How big is your cube? Okay. What is it made of, and what is the surface like? What's the texture? Okay. What color is it? Okay. Where in the field is it? Is it close to you, far away? Okay. Is the cube on the ground, floating? Is it on an angle? Okay. Is it transparent? And if so, can you see anything inside? Okay. Okay, great job. Now I want you to think of a ladder. How long is the ladder? And where is it located in your field? Okay. what's the distance between the ladder and the cube? Are they touching? Is there a little bit of space? Are they really far apart? Now, I know some of these things seem really disjointed and random, but there is some meaning to it, so stick with me. Now, I want you to think of a horse. Yes, a horse, a pony. What color is it? What is it doing? Where is it in relation to the cube? Now think of some flowers. Where are the flowers in your field and how many are there? Yeah, it could be a bouquet of flowers, it could be a bunch of wildflowers, the whole field could be filled with flowers, just whatever you imagine. Okay. Now I want you to think of the setting a little bit more. Can you tell me about what the weather is like? Are there a lot of clouds? Okay. And now I want you to think of a storm. What is the distance between the storm and the cube? Like, is the storm right on top of you? Do you see it coming? Is it really far in the distance? And is it a large storm, smaller? Is it passing through, or does it seem like it'll stick around? Okay, perfect. Okay, so those were the kind of 7 prompts or visualization prompts, and now we are going to get into the interpretation. Now, because I wrote down your answers, I could tell you exactly what each of those responses means. However, I always like to explain kind of each possible answer just in case you felt like you teetered between a couple of different visions or details, and so that you know in the future, if you kind of do this on your own, what the results would be. Okay, so I'm going to go through each of the 7 prompts and tell you kind of general descriptions or popular responses, and then what the interpretation is. Okay, so first I asked you to describe an open field. If, well, I'll tell you, the field represents your mind. Its size is the representation of your knowledge of the world and how vast your personality is. The condition of the field is what your personality looks like at first glance. So you may have envisioned something that was a little bit different than these descriptors, but if you, let me make sure I don't have any other if you described the field as looking dry and dead, pretty desolate, then that means that you're feeling pessimistic. That's how your personality may come off to others. If the field was grassy and healthy, maybe had wildflowers, a lot of growth, you're feeling optimistic. And if the field is well trimmed, maybe like an agricultural field or just something that seemed really neat and orderly, you are analytical and cautious. How do you feel about that? Yeah, I agree. It could be a combination of both. Personally, when I envision the field, it is kind of a combination of all three. I envisioned like a floral field, but there isn't much around. It's kind of all by itself. So, you have to take these results with a grain of salt. It's just kind of fun and interesting. So don't get too bogged down if you don't feel like the results represent you. So now onto the cube itself. The cube represents you. The size of the cube is your ego. The surface of the cube represents what is visibly observable about your personality, or maybe it is what you want others to think about you. The texture of the cube represents your nature. So, I think it's interesting to think about the size of the cube representing your ego. Now, when I have conducted this test, I feel like the majority of people see a fairly large cube. However, it is subjective, right? I mean, if you're in a field and the cube is, 3 square feet, that's large, but it's not like it takes up the whole field. So I think that's kind of up to your own interpretation. But there are deeper interpretations of the texture and the color. So I will read you those. If you envisioned a smooth cube, maybe it was glass or just a smooth texture, you're a gentle person who takes care not to hurt others or make them feel uncomfortable. If you envisioned a rough, textured cube, you're more straightforward. You tend to be honest in everything you say, no matter how it might affect the person you're talking to. And lastly, I do not see this a lot, but it's interesting. If you envisioned a bumpy or spiky cube, you have a tendency to criticize others in an attempt to make them feel inferior to you. I don't see that one frequently. I would say the one that I see the most is a smooth cube. Okay. So next, color. The color of the cube is a more in-depth analysis of yourself. Each color can represent an emotion or an entire personality altogether. And these are the most common. I will read the transparent note because I would say that a large majority of people see a clear, glass-like cube. So it says, a cube with a transparent surface means you tend to let others know what you feel on the inside. Makes sense. You're confident enough to show your inner thoughts and you are deeply sincere. You know that you are good inside and it shows. That's what most people see in you as well. Anytime I have ever given this test, I'm always thinking about my kind of thoughts as well, and I've always only seen a clear cube. So that's interesting. But you may have seen a cube that was colored. So if you saw a red cube, it means you're physically active and enjoy rich sensory experiences. If you saw a yellow cube, you're sociable and cherish your individuality. If you saw a blue cube, you're intelligent and respect others' ideas. If you saw a violet or purple cube, you're intelligent and a bit of a perfectionist. You're also mysterious. A gray cube, you're self-confident, independent, and not easily rattled. Yeah, I think that's interesting too. A black cube, you have a strong sense of individuality and independence, and you put a high value on alone time. And white, you're kind, independent, and self-reliant. Okay, now there's a couple of other notes as well, kind of relating to texture and color. Okay. So if you saw a cube made of water or ice, it indicates that you let external elements influence you completely. You're sensitive to social pressure, relationships, and other environmental factors. A hollow cube means that you're primarily concerned with your outside appearance, with far less care for what's going on within. But that doesn't mean that you don't have anything going on the inside. And then this one I would say is even more rare. A cube made of metal or rock indicates that you have solid integrity. You have a strong personality that's so strong that it cannot be bent or influenced by any external force. You're dominant and consistent. I think that makes sense. So what do you think about those results? A little, okay, yeah. Yeah, you can kind of take some of it and get rid of whatever doesn't fit. Okay, now moving on to the ladder. I always think this one's super interesting. So, the ladder represents two different aspects of your life: your goals and your friendships. So, about the goals. I first asked you about the length of the ladder. If you saw a shorter ladder, that means your goals are realistic and simple. I think you can guess what a long ladder means. Your goals are more far-fetched and difficult to attain. In regards to the ladder distance, if you pictured the ladder being far away, you aren't putting much thought or effort into achieving your goals. So they're kind of far off in the distance. If the ladder was near, you're putting maximum effort and focus into achieving your goals. Yeah. I think it is hard to see a short ladder because most ladders that we would ever encounter in our lives are quite tall, so it's kind of a stretch of the imagination to envision one that's shorter. But some people do. Okay, now the location and material of your ladder can also tell you how close you are with your friends. So, if the ladder, let's see. Okay. If it was near the cube, you're very close with your friends. If it's actually leaning on the cube, it means your friends can lean on you for support. Because remember, the cube represents you. If the ladder was far away from the cube, you have a hard time opening up to people and letting them get close to you. And then in terms of the ladder material, if you pictured a strong, like a metal or stone ladder, it means that you have a stronger bond with friends. A weaker material indicates a weak bond between you and those around you. So if it seems sturdy or unreliable. Okay, we're about halfway there. So number 4, the horse. The horse represents your ideal partner. So, based on the activities and the color, it indicates different personality traits and characteristics. So, if the horse was playing, your ideal partner doesn't take life too seriously or get bogged down by the little stuff. If the horse was running around, your ideal partner will respect your space and give you the alone time that you crave. If the horse was sleeping or grazing, your ideal partner is calm and fully committed to you. What do you think about that? Now on to the color. If the horse was brown, you prize comfort and reliability above all else. If the horse was black, your ideal partner is dominant, seductive, and sophisticated. If the horse was white, you value loyalty and trust more than anything else in a relationship. And it says, if your horse is a completely different color than the ones listed above, it means you value originality and independence in a partner. It also says, thinking about the distance between the horse and the cube, if the horse is near the cube, it indicates that you prefer relationships where you spend most of your time with your partner. And on the flip side, if the horse was far away from the cube, then that may indicate that you like a little bit more alone time or are okay with not seeing your partner as frequently. Now on to the flowers. I like this one. Okay. So the flowers represent your family and friends. The number of flowers reflects your popularity, and their location indicates how close you are with your social groups. So if you saw just a few flowers, you're close with your family and have a small, tight-knit group of friends. If the flowers are everywhere, you're a social butterfly. With family and friends too numerous to count, you'll never be lonely. That one, again, I think is a little bit harder because I think for a lot of people, when you just naturally think of a field, it is a field of flowers. That's what I always envision, but I am certainly not a social butterfly. I kind of saw the flowers though in kind of like bunches, and there were a lot of them, but I don't know. That one I feel is a little less accurate, specifically for me at least. Okay, so last two are weather related. So the general weather condition represents your general outlook on life. So, if it was raining, that means the rain symbolizes the problems in your life. The harder the rain, the bigger the problems. If it was foggy, you feel uncertainty in life and may be struggling with your identity. Maybe there's something that is unresolved, a problem that you're trying to work through that is making it hard to navigate different avenues in your life. If it was windy, you tend to worry about future issues, but you generally don't let them get you down for long. Makes sense. The wind can affect you temporarily, but does move on by. And if it is sunny, you are optimistic and carefree. Now, these are obviously not the only 4 weather choices that you could have envisioned. If perhaps it was snowy, I would put that in the rain category. If it was sunny but maybe a little bit cloudy, then I think you could kind of combine the sun and the wind, where maybe you're generally optimistic, but there may be a few things that are not really weighing you down, but maybe worries or challenges. So there are combinations of those as well. And now onto the storm. So the strength and position of the storm reflects the stress you're feeling in life. This is a heavy one. So, if the storm is in the background, maybe far off in the distance, the interpretation is any obstacles that might be causing you grief are not at the forefront of your mind. They're on the back burner. You are good at managing your stress and anxiety. If they are right above the cube, it feels like they are right above you. You're deeply affected by stress and have a hard time seeing past it to get back to the bigger picture. If you felt like the storm is mild, just passing through, maybe something light, while you aren't immune to stress, you know that all things must pass. So you don't get weighed down by stressful events. But if the storm feels very strong, when you stress, you go all in and have a very hard time pulling yourself out again. Could be a combination of both. You might feel that the storm is going to roll in slowly but stick around for a while. It might really breeze on past. There's so many variations. I always see a storm that's in the distance, but I always sense some sort of darkness with it, where it's something that is going to cause stress or anxiety and stay around for a little bit of time. And when I reflect on my life, I feel like that is pretty accurate. So, some of the prompts are more detailed than others, and therefore can be more targeted, and you may feel fit your life situation better. And others just may not stick. You might not feel like there's enough details to give you accurate results. And that's all right. This isn't supposed to be something that is a set in stone, kind of guideline or a true, 100% true analysis of your personality, but it's just kind of something interesting to interpret. So I hope that you found this to be at least a little bit enjoyable, maybe even relaxing. I also hope that you learned something about yourself. I find that these types of tests are just fun, but always leave me kind of digging deeper into my own mind and asking questions about things, and just kind of digging into my own psychology. So I quite enjoy them myself. If you are interested in any other psychology tests, we will be doing some more in the future. We kind of cycle through them, do about 1 to 2 different ones per month, and yeah, it's always great seeing the different results and how they vary person by person. So I would love for you to stop by again once we get those new tests in. But for now, I hope that you go back home feeling, not stressed or worried about anything, but just maybe like you've gotten a little bit of clarity or just a deeper understanding of yourself. But yeah, I hope the rest of your day is pleasant and relaxing, and I will see you back here hopefully in the near future. Thanks for stopping by.